The July 10th, 2023 meeting of the Tiverton Town Council to order. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, if you can read the roll.
Councilor Perry?
Present.
Councilor Edwards?
Present.
Councilor Janick? Present. Councilor Edwards?
Present.
Councilor Burk?
Present.
Councilor Milbourne? Present. Councilor deMedeiros is absent.
Thank you. Let me go through the consent agenda. Item 4A, approval of town council minutes from the regular meeting on June 12th with Councilor deMedeiros abstaining, absent. Executive session of June 12th with Councilor deMedeiros abstaining, absent. Regular meeting of June 26th, Councilor Edwards V abstaining, absent. In the executive session of June 26th, Councilor Edwards V abstaining, absent. Item 4B, acknowledge receipt of minutes from boards, commissions, and committees. 3 from the Zoning Board of Review, 1 from the Zoning Board of Appeals, and 2 from the Historic Preservation Advisory Board. 4C, acknowledge receipt of reports, Town Administrator Department's monthly reports for June 2023, and the Town Administrator Police and Fire overtime reports for June of 2023. And finally, D, acknowledge receipt of correspondence, Coastal Resources Management Council meeting notice for July 18th at 6 p.m. regarding John Bowen and Patrick Bowen, file 2020-04037. Does anyone wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? Yes, Deb?
4D1, please.
Anything else? Do I have a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Deb?
So the meeting notice for the CRMC meeting, just so that people are aware, it is not being held here in town. It is in the Conference Room A at Administrative Building, 1 Capitol Hill, Providence. So if you want to be speaker at that, you do have to go live. Otherwise, you can attend it by the Zoom webinar. So you can stay at home if you feel you would like to see this. You can still view it, but you can't speak unless you're there. So just so people are aware.
You also, are they still taking written testimony until that July 18th date, Chris?
There they are, and I'm going, so.
I'll be there as well, representing the memo that we put together on behalf of the council.
And written testimony is still open for anyone who wants
I
to
believe it
provide
is.
written
I think they
testimony?
can do it up to that date.
Yeah, I believe so too. So you answer my next question, because I know Denise has to be at an Eagle Scout event in Little Compton, I believe it is. It's later on our agenda. I have to get up very early for a flight the next morning, so I can't make it. So thank you. You're going to?
I'm going to try and make it. The question I had is whether our solicitor is going to be present or not. I know it's right across the street from his office.
If you're asking for us to be, then we will be.
I mean, I think it would be nice if our legal representation was there in addition to our executive officer.
I can ask them.
Okay. And I mentioned it publicly because the last time we had legislation up at the State House, had I not been there, he might not have made it to testify. I know he's got a pretty full schedule, so.
I think that's also the way things are posted at the State House. Sometimes you miss them.
And just to clarify, I did ask them to have the meeting in town.
Yes, we did.
They did opt not to.
Thank you. Any other discussion from the council on that item? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve D1, 4D1?
So
To
moved.
accept
Second.
4D1. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any public comments signed up? That's okay. Jamie, please come up, but I don't know what a continuation is. I need to know what item on today's agenda this is in reference to.
It's a continuation from when I was here at the last meeting, and I was talking about some of the zoning issues that I thought, why I wanted to be on the zoning revision committee. And I was talking about some discrepancies within the zoning, and everybody looked at me like I had 5 heads. So
I wasn't present, so I definitely did not.
So,
I know you would not. And Mr. Romano wasn't here. But,
so Jamie, hang on. We have nothing regarding zoning on our agenda other than appointments to the zoning
Right,
revision
right.
committee.
But the public comment can be on something that is not included on the agenda. It's what it says on the agenda.
You have 3 minutes.
Okay, and I wanted to pass this out, because I wanted to bring proof of what I was speaking about. Do I get to pass out time, or
No, you have 3 minutes.
I have 3 minutes, or I better begin talking while I'm,
If you'd like to just hand them, and then we can just take them and pass them
Pass them
down.
around.
what?
Yeah, just hand them to Mr. Cotta, and he'll pass them down for us.
And I believe you all know this, but there's not going to be any response, no
Right.
votes taken whatsoever.
Correct.
Absolutely, I'm just bringing up
Public
some
comment.
issues
Public comment only.
Yeah.
that I had brought up earlier, and people looked at me like I was better over here.
Whatever
Okay,
you prefer is best.
Wherever.
I'll run the meeting, John.
On this first page, I want you to note that on the top, it's the form-based code. And on the bottom is the general zoning. On the form-based code, the letter P stands for the use is permitted but subject to administrative review. When you come down to the P for the general commercial, the P stands for the use is permitted. And so what happens is that those 2 Ps are then mistaken by people, applicants, because the P doesn't stand for the same thing. Because a P that needs an administrative review is not the same as a P that permits it without an administrative review. So when it came to the crematorium, for example, on the form-based code, it was not permitted because, it was not permitted because it was not approved by an administrative review. Now, when you come down to it's
have
very
1 minute
confusing
left.
over here, but when you come down to the regular code, industrial says it's not, an N is not, no use, and that, it's not permitted, sorry. On the back page shows how the conservation opportunities do not exist at all in North Tiverton. There is not one area, even though North Tiverton is a very wet location and has wetlands, DEM wetlands, none of them are on the map. And so I've been told there are no conservation opportunities in North Tiverton indicated by the map. On this map here, on the existing land use, which you can see down the bottom, I'm sorry the coloring didn't come out. It was the best I could do.
Jamie, your time is up in 2
Well,
seconds.
I'm almost there. The North Tiverton, you can see, is medium low, medium density, and medium high density. And it's and the woods are not zoned as either of those. But when you turn it over to the future land use map, that same exact area is in the exact same color as medium density, but now it has become high density. And so from taking a medium density area
You're
of
well
town,
over time.
it has now become high density, which we are building to. And I'm just saying that these are some discrepancies that I have noted. There are many more. And that is why I asked to be on the zoning revision committee, because there's far more than that. And some of the tables are like, there's real issues.
Thank
Anyway,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 6, appointments and resignations, discussion and possible votes on any of these. Item A, zoning commission revision committee, 2 public members for 2 year terms, and there are 2 vacancies because it's new. We've already interviewed each of the individuals listed here. Susan Anderson, 1137 Main Road. All of these are requesting appointment for a term ending 5/7/2025. Jamie Robin French of 48 Craig Avenue, and Cheryl Valentine of 58 North Christopher Avenue. Do I have any motions?
Mr. Chair,
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Jamie French, 48 Craig Avenue, and Cheryl Valentine, 58 North Christopher.
Let's take those separately, please.
Okay, I'll make a motion to appoint Jamie French, 48 Craig Ave.
Do I have a second? Hearing none, the motion fails. Do I have another motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Cheryl Valentine, 58 North Christopher Ave.
Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Passes unanimously. Do I have another motion?
Mr. President, I make a motion to,
Use your mic.
oh, I'm sorry. For Susan Anderson, 1137 Main Road, for an appointment term ending 5/7/2025.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Do I have a second? Any discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
So I understand I didn't get a second for Ms. French. And while I do think that Ms. Anderson is a phenomenal asset for the town, I think Ms. Anderson is on a bunch of committees already, and I think I've been on the record here before saying that we should have additional involvement from members of the public, and especially when we have new members who come forward. So, I think Ms. Anderson would do a great job. I also think that Ms. French would be a great contrarian contributor as well.
Thank you. Anybody else? Hearing none, move to a vote to appoint Susan Anderson, 1137 Main Road, to the Zoning Revision Committee. All those in favor? None opposed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Budget Committee, 7-member board, 4-year terms, 1 vacancy. We have, I believe for the 3rd time before us, Brendan J. Andrade of 111 Ash Avenue. I'm not sure, I don't believe he's present.
Madam
but-
President?
Yes, that's okay. You're used to having a woman up here, that's okay.
Mr. President, I'm so sorry. He did respond today through email that he would not be able to attend tonight.
Okay. I am going to suggest a motion, because this is our 3rd effort, that we table this application indefinitely.
Did he indicate he was still interested?
No, he just said he will not be able to attend.
Okay.
But I did, in the email, say that you must be interviewed by the council in order to potentially be appointed to the position. And all I get is, I will not be able to attend. So I've tried, and Janie's tried.
So what, do you want a motion to table indefinitely or until next meeting?
I would not do it until next meeting myself. I mean, I think we've given him 3 opportunities, and I don't think he's given a reason any of those times, and sometimes he's not responded.
So moved.
No, motion to table indefinitely. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor? Tabled indefinitely.
I'm going to vote
No, all those opposed?
I'll vote no on that one.
Sorry. I was getting used to unanimous.
I gotta mix it up every once in a while, you know?
Recycling Landfill Committee, 5-member board, 3-year terms, 4 vacancies. And we have again Jean-Pierre Moline, 10 Bowen Avenue, request appointment for a term ending 4/1/2026. Is that you, sir? Please join us. Yes, please, please. So feel free, please let us know why you're interested in being on the recycling committee.
My name is JP Molinier.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, we moved to Tiverton about a year ago from Bristol, live at 10 Bowen Avenue, and I like to contribute a little bit. I just don't want to be, living in Tiverton and do nothing. I've got an interest in recycling personally. The company I work for is called Gurit, and we manufacture recycled product for the marine industry. So I got a personal connection to it. I just like to be useful. I have absolutely no idea what's required, I'll be totally honest. But again, I don't have a lot of time either because I'm a full-time, I'm not retired yet. But again, I like to contribute, I like to see what's involved and see if I can do something for the town as opposed to just live here. So that's really that. I'm an American citizen, I know I don't sound like one, okay, but I've been born and raised in France, lived in the US for 4 years. My wife Kate and I, we have 2 kids. And we're proud and happy to be in Tiverton.
Great. Thank you and welcome to Tiverton.
Thank you.
John, you have something?
Yeah, I just have one point. First off, thank you for putting your name forward. And just so you're aware, if we appoint you, you would be the second of a 5-member board. So technically no quorum. So I don't think there's much responsibility until we get a 3rd person.
Okay.
So if you have any friends, we'd love to get a couple more applicants so we can actually have a meeting.
Sure.
Chris, can you talk a little bit about it so Mr. Moline would understand? When it is?
So town obviously has recycling issues that we'd like to enhance to the best that we can. With the closure of the landfill, we know a lot of people have products that they would like to see get enhanced as far as recycling pickups. That committee would work with our state recycling entity with Johnston to figure out what they would and would not accept and the best ways to try to provide recycling in the community to make it efficient and so that we don't have as much stuff on the side of the roads and other things like that.
Right, okay. I mean, again, I'm interested in that. I don't know how much power we can exert, but it's worth exploring, and I think, probably get a couple more people to work on this.
Great.
I think initially there'd be a lot of fact-finding to figure out what we can and cannot do.
Right, I understand that.
Great.
So, yeah.
Thank you. So first off, if anyone would like to make a motion to waive our policy to wait until next meeting. John?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to waive our policy and appoint J.P. Moulinier, 10 Bowen Ave this evening.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous? Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
are one of 2 now.
Congratulations.
If you have any questions, you see this gentleman here.
We haven't voted to appoint him.
Yeah, he put it all in one motion.
Oh, we
He
did.
put it all in one motion, which is fine.
I'm done with the joint motions on that.
I have my hearing aids in.
Next up is item 7, public hearings, advertised discussion and possible vote. Amory Azevedo, consideration of sound variance for a graduation party at 135 Lewis Street on Saturday, July 22nd, 2023, from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m., and request approval for a special event permit. And I believe you're sitting over there on the right. If you could join us up here. Is this the graduate with you?
Yes, it is.
She's too shy to come up with you?
Yes.
Don't make her do it.
Please, just tell us what your plans are and,
It's just gonna be a party from like 30 to 40 people, a yard party, and they wanted a DJ. So basically, that's what I'm here for, is the sound variance.
okay, and you're looking at parking on the street?
I have some on my driveway.
Okay.
And in the street, I have a large, it makes like a U, and, I
Yeah.
have quite a few.
And it looks like on the map, I used to walk down there until I hurt my foot. If you saw a stranger walking at like 6 o'clock in the morning, that was probably me. There's a paper road right in front of your house, I
Yes.
think, so that's where some of the parking's going to be?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Anybody have any questions? High school or college?
school.
High school. Congratulations. You're welcome.
Last one.
Last one.
3 girls, last one.
Oh, there you go.
You live in my future.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
the big, this
Good
is the
luck.
big party, right? Yeah.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
Public hearing?
Oh, thank you. Yes, this is what so we have to, I'll open up the public hearing on the consideration of sound variance for a graduation party at 135 Lewis Street on Saturday, July 22nd, 2023, from 3 to 10 p.m. Anybody in the public wish to speak? Anyone in the public wish to speak? Anyone in the public wish to speak? Hearing none, close the public hearing. I have one quick question for the chief. You're in that area, you have any concerns about emergency vehicles and street parking?
Well, I know I put it in as a notation. We'll make sure that we work with, we won't want to spoil anyone's credit.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
motion to approve the sound variance for the grad party at 135 Lewis Street on Saturday, July 22nd, 2023, until 10 p.m.
Second. Meeting all legal requirements.
Subject to meeting all legal requirements.
You good with that, Joe? Okay. Any other discussion? If none, all those in favor? Enjoy.
you.
Have fun.
Enjoy.
Congratulations.
And next time you get to speak, you're an adult now. You're going to bring you up here to speak.
I said you should go last.
What are you, I'm going to put you on the spot, though. What are your plans after the summer?
Like, we'll go to college.
Yeah,
I
well-
want to apply to the nursing program.
Oh, where?
College. Rhode Island College.
Okay,
Yeah,
good,
I'm excited. I want
Good.
to be a nurse.
Good.
Me specifically, though.
good. Well, the president who's not here is a long, I'll say a long-time nurse.
Really?
Yes.
Ooh, I have some questions.
No, just, her email's on the website. Feel free to email her. I'm sure she'll, I'm not going to say how long. She's been a nurse for a long time.
Well experienced.
Her entire adult life.
Her entire career.
Well, good luck and enjoy.
Thank you.
Thanks. Moving on to general business. Item 8A, Town Administrator. Discussion and possible vote to approve contract with Potter League for Animals to provide animal shelter services. Mr. Cotta.
So, from our last meeting, we informed the council that the contract for West Place had ended as of July 1st, as of June 30th. We did speak with Potter League. They actually provided a contract that is very similar. Actually, it's quite a bit cheaper. It's $22,000 versus $28,000. It's basically the same deal. 6 cages, so much a day, 365 days a year. They have been accepting the dogs. I think we had one that we transferred over without the contract, but we wanted to get the contract ratified as quickly as possible. So I would love to put them much closer. And there is a state law that says that if we did use forever paws, which is right on the state line, there's a 5-day quarantine period for it. So if we picked your dog up today, you wouldn't get it back for 6 days. To me, I don't know if there's any way to correct that. So we'll try to work with our legislative team to see if there's something we can do about it. I don't know why that's the way it is. It is what it is.
COVID.
No,
I'm just messing with you.
I don't get it because there's all kinds of rescue dogs that come up from all different states. And I've never heard that was an issue, but it is an issue with using a shelter.
Well, our now long deceased dog came from, we got her at the Potters League, but it came from a shelter in Fall River. They transferred it.
Yeah.
So Chris, is the quarantine period a function of Rhode Island or of Mass?
Rhode Island.
Okay. I'm working on something.
So as this says, we're not allowed at the moment to use Fall River or Westport. There's really nothing in the works.
There isn't. So, when speaking to the Potter League, they were pretty adamant, because I asked them if there was a way that we could do it month to month so that we could try to work our way through it and try to find something that would be closer to the constituents. They were pretty adamant they would prefer that, it is a fairly decent rate to do it for a year. They want to be committed for their cages. They didn't want to be left hanging alert,
Yeah,
so.
that's fair. So is it just for dogs? It's not for cats?
I'd have to ask the chief that. I believe it's for both, right?
Cats?
And dogs?
Just dogs.
Just dogs.
They can assist us with pretty much any animal, but the contract would be just for canines.
So if we had a cat, we'd pay an extra fee, or?
We have to discuss it with them about accepting it, because that wouldn't be part of the contract, because unfortunately, cats are somewhat of an unregulated
Right.
animal. And I would fear that if they started doing that, that would kind of go against the nature of the contract, because if we did it once.
Yeah.
So I know the contract primarily is for the dogs, but if we had a cat that was adoptable, I know we'd work with, the Baja Cafe and other people and other agencies, but the long-winded answer to your question is, it's just dogs.
Okay.
So does your animal officer pick up cats if they're
It's rare, but
stray?
She'll pick up, I know she's picked up pretty much anything, because the majority of those animals, cats are difficult, but she'll be able to check and see if it's chipped, to see if there's an owner. And of course, dogs should be licensed, so, they can get returned to the owner. But she'll work with pretty much any animal at any time.
So does the cat cafe, do they store their cats there, house their cats?
They have a relationship actually with Forever Paws, I believe. I could be
So
misspeaking.
that's where they're housed and they just bring them in for
Correct.
the day?
Correct.
Oh, I didn't know that.
yep.
No, because I walk there too, early in the morning sometimes, and the cat, at 6 o'clock in the morning, the cats are looking at me out the window.
And oddly enough, there's not a 5-day waiting period for cats.
So, I mean, in the future, no disrespect to Potter, they've definitely stepped up, and I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
great thing that
Yeah.
they're helping us out. But knowing that Forever Paws is literally from me to that table away, when it comes to the state line, they would be interested in doing something. They're researching it with their staff, and they're going to work with our animal control officer and the town administrator to see if it's something that they can get licensed in both states.
Okay. And no hidden costs?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I mean, it is what it's,
And if the clause 14 talks about if they're at capacity, they have the right to limit, do we have any concern about that?
I don't believe we housed more than a dozen animals in the last year,
Okay.
because the ACO is good about, if we find a dog, primarily,
owner.
we put it out on social media, try to find the owner. We make it a pet at the station temporarily
Yep.
until we can have somebody, so we try our best to use the kennel as a last resort.
Okay.
And given that it's in Middletown, even more so.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Mr. Chair,
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the contract as recommended by the administrator.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Thank you.
Unanimous. And town administrator update on on-site wastewater program and card distribution.
so I didn't give you a lot of backup on this. The town is responsible for on-site wastewater management. At one time, we used the Tiverton wastewater district to do the work that was behind on-site. So they used a firm called Carmody. It's an electronic database firm. They take all the information from the pumpers that actually, go out and facilitate the cleaning of these tanks and distribute it to the sewage treatment plant. What we haven't done in a long time, at least in 3 years, is send out notices to the highly susceptible areas, like around the watershed areas and those that we know that have cesspools, that they really need to do some general maintenance. Just, all we're asking people to do is just get them pumped. And I'm going to clarify this publicly, that when we do send out these notices, because they've been working with some of the pumpers, this firm has been working with the pumpers, the real estate agents, and a number of other entities to ensure that as we transfer properties, that these are getting done. They're actually much more active now than it's been in the last 5 years. So we are going to send out probably 1,500 to 2,000 cards to individuals to put them on notice. You really should have your systems looked at. The issue that I've had is a couple of them have come back where the pumpers have come in and done an inspection on their own, saying that the town is requiring inspections. We're not. So if you pump, they should do a general inspection to start with for a baseline, but at some point they will be required to have an inspection if they don't get them pumped regularly. And that's regularly, it's like 3 to 5 years. It's not like we're asking to do it every year. So there's you might get a couple of phone calls as these cards come out. I'm just trying to, put you aware of what's going on. The issue is that we really haven't done much in the way of management, other than maintain the database. When we looked at the database this year, there's like 8,000 properties, 7,700 or something like that. There is probably less than 2% compliance. It is what it is. So we're trying to get some word out to say we're actively looking at trying to get people informed and to do the right thing, what we think is the right thing by our ordinance, so.
Okay, other questions? John?
After you, if you prefer.
This is every home that has septic?
Septic system.
So,
And it's not every home. So like some of the newer ones that we know that are on maintenance agreements, that we're not gonna try to, we're trying to actually get the cesspools in areas around watershed areas that really, if people have not been maintaining them, they really should be at least taking a look at what they own for infrastructure.
so when you hire someone to come in and pump your septic, do they put you into the database?
Yep, they're required to by our ordinance.
Oh, okay. So people aren't required.
So we
homeowners-
were finding that some of the pumpers weren't even putting the entities in. So the company has done a very good job of reaching out to all the appropriate entities to ensure that, A, when they do work, they're recording it so that it's beneficial to the homeowner, that there's a recording of it. And that if there's a need, let's say we know that we could look at the records and say somebody's pumping like every other week. There's probably a problem with that system that we should probably send an engineer out to take a look at and get them into a program, because we do have the community septic loan program, which is another, I know it's on a side issue, but there's ways for us, the community, to help people. So, we definitely want to try to get all the cesspools resolved. And all the real estate agents now have been put on notice about closing on properties that it's a requirement that they have a checkoff list as they go through those closings to ensure that there's an inspection of that septic system.
So my question as it relates to sending out the postcards, because we obviously just came through the budget, and I don't recall seeing this as a line item in the budget anywhere. And
It
from
is. It's a $20,000 line item and used to be under the landfill, under OWS. We have I think it's a $6,000 a year maintenance agreement with the Carmody people to maintain the database. So these are postcards. If we send out 2,000, it would be about $1,000 to send them out. So we're not talking about a lot of money, but it would come out of that account. So we do have some extra money in that account.
Okay, and then my follow-up point would be, given that we have, the pumpers who are doing this, and, I feel like there's a revenue opportunity here for the town through some sort of like a licensing piece or a fee for inspection, something along those lines.
So we've tried not to do that, because all of that licensing fee is just going to get passed on to the ultimate consumer. So you're going to pay for it, and we're trying to get people to comply. We're not trying to beat them over, and I'm not trying to be crass with this, but I'm not trying to generate another bureaucracy or a revenue stream in town for something that we're trying to get them to make sure they have a decent system so that we're not polluting waters and things like that. So we're trying to keep the cost down as low as we can so that we can not have the entities charge customers more monies to maintain their property.
Yeah, and then the final point that I would make is, because I sat on the board for wastewater when wastewater had responsibility for this, the postcards are wildly ineffective. I mean, most people are just going to take them and chuck them.
They are.
So,
That's why we're going to try to target certain areas.
It would, and I understand, but I think ultimately, like, we're going to need to come up with a better plan. If the goal is truly to reform these systems, continuing along the same path that Tiverton did and then wastewater did, and now Tiverton's doing again, it's just going to be more of the same, and ultimately the cesspools are not going to get replaced. So, maybe that's something we need to dive deeper on at a future meeting.
That whole process had been very, very dormant. Other than what was going in the database, there was a lot of corrections that had to be done in that database. We've been spending months going through it to ensure that the right homeowners, the right property owners, the right streets address, or that people that were having things done were actually getting recorded.
So let me ask you one more question then, as it goes along those lines. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, I have a cesspool, right? I get the cards. I've been getting the cards for 8-10 years.
So they haven't been going out for the last
well,
3.
hypothetically speaking, I've just been throwing them in the garbage, right? What enforcement mechanisms does the town have?
So I'd have to go back and read the ordinances. There is language in the ordinance that we can make it strict. There's fines and things that we can do. We can charge them with it's almost like a building code violation. Bring them to municipal court and go through that process too. Obviously, we're trying not to do that. I think if, once we get zeroed in on just the cesspool issues, I think that we will try to work our way through those without trying to be heavy-handed. That's kind of the tactic that I've been trying to take, is last thing I need all of you, the 7 of you, is to get phone calls from a bunch of constituents saying, what's going on with the septic police out here? You know, we don't need the negativity. We're trying to get people to more embrace the system, and if that doesn't work, then we'll try to step it up another level.
And Mr. Chair, I apologize. I have one follow-up piece to that because it just came to me. So obviously, if you're in phase 1 of the sewer project, you don't have to worry about replacing your system because there's ultimately going to be a hookup. But DEM also expanded that to include phase 2. So I'm assuming that we're going to exclude properties that are in phase 2, correct?
I don't know if there is a phase 2. That, I would have to confirm that there actually is a phase 2.
There was originally 5 total phases for
Right,
North
but
Tiverton, but
until they get money to actually perform that, and I don't think they've gotten any loans to move forward with phase 2 yet.
they have not. But I do know specifically that phase 1 and phase 2
I
were
would say
exempted.
that as it relates to that, is if it stays status quo like it is today, where there is no funding for it, to the extent there are cesspools, and that's, we would probably try to get them to be repaired. They would be exempt from having to tie in. I think it's a 15-year exemption that they would have to tie in. That's a tough question, but obviously we would like to try, if it's creating a problem, we would definitely try to work with them to get the problem resolved.
Okay.
Any other questions on the wastewater?
It was more of an update than
Yeah,
anything else.
right.
It wasn't, I
Yeah,
just,
no votes needed.
I figured you might start getting some calls now that the cards, they're probably gonna go out by the end of next week or early the week after, so.
And then the only announcement we have under item 9, Council President Eagle Court of Honor to be held on July 18th, 2023 at 7 p.m. at the Little Compton Game Club to recognize scouts who have attained the rank of Eagle Scout, those being Joshua Grant Wood, Alexander Nimorowski, Benjamin Curtis, and Finley B. Cook Dumas. Congratulations to all of them. It's quite an achievement.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Just to let you know, we've put together sort of like a congratulation certificate.
And those are all from Tiverton, those boys are all
All
from
of these gentlemen, Eagle Scouts, are from Tiverton.
Great.
And if you remember the Andrew,
Right.
Alexander Minorowski, he actually came to us.
With the
came
Save
in
the
front of
Bay.
the council for the Save the.
Little decals on the.
Yep.
Yep.
So, just wanted to let you know what we were doing. It was kind of late notice for the normal proclamation, because that involves a lot of information.
Yes.
So, we discussed this and went with this. And just to let you know, this Finley B. Cook Dumas, that's Donna Cook's
Oh, that's her
grandson.
grandson. Oh, okay.
So Little
Nice.
Compton lets them, the game club lets them use the club for.
Oh, for that
us.
purpose.
So
Okay.
that's their home for the Boy Scouts in
Okay.
this area.
The joint, yep. And I know that, I think all but John was here. The clerk needs your ordinance code books for new material. So.
Got a
Again?
new supplement in.
I'll get it to you one day.
Okay. I will entertain a motion in a minute to enter into executive session. I'm going to suggest we immediately go into the administrator's office so we can move forward. Executive session under item A, Town Administrator, RIGL 42465A5, discussion related to the sale of publicly held property in the Tiverton Industrial Park and related to a prospective business located in the state town where an open meeting would be detrimental effect on the interests of the public. B, Town Administrator, RIGL 42465A4, any investigative proceeding regarding allegations of misconduct, either civil or criminal. C, Solicitor Marcello, now Solicitor Romano, RIGL 42465A2, litigation, potential litigation regarding West Place Animal Sanctuary related to past services. And D, Solicitor Marcello / Romano, RIGL 42465A2, litigation Highland Ridge Farm versus Town of Tiverton, NC 2023-0221 update. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion. I'll give it to Joe.
Second.
You're a second. Joe says yes. John?
Yes.
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 Yes. Dennis, you have to say yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we are now heading